Hello, hello, hello. Hey, everybody. This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast. How is everybody doing on this? Man, it was such a beautiful day today here in Central Texas, man. Oh my God, it was perfect. 75 degrees, light breeze, not a cloud in the sky. And man, I just sat outside for like an hour to just enjoy the moment, and I encourage everybody to enjoy the moment because it's there, then it's gone. That's why we call it a moment. You know what I'm saying? But tonight, hey, I know you guys wondering what happened last week, but hey, we're gonna leave that in the past. Hey, tonight we got Shadowhunters Paranormal out of Dixon, Illinois. Um, we're gonna jump into a commercial, then we're gonna come back, man, and see what these guys are about, man. We're gonna pick their brains and all the good stuff. So, hey, I hope you brought your zingers and I hope you brought your milk because we're gonna have a lot of fun on this. So, hey, give me a minute and I will be right back. All right, so it wasn't a minute. Sue me. Hey guys, tonight we've got Shadow Hunters from Dixon, Illinois. Hey guys, introduce yourselves to the world.
I'm Sabian.
I'm Brian.
And yeah, we're part of Shadowhunters Paranormal. We are two of the three founders. We are also married.
Yep.
I think just about the only married members of the group.
Yeah.
Our other guy, he's a empath. He is out in like Lost Nation, Illinois. It's not very far from us. It's about 15, 20 minutes. Family thing. He couldn't make it to this. But he's a good friend of ours. I used to work with him at Walmart. We do like basic jobs. Walmart, Starbucks, all of the fun stuff.
Oh wow! Never had a coffee before, but I've heard so much about Starbucks, and I heard some of the locations are haunted. I don't know how true that is, but I guess we'll figure it out if I ever go to Starbucks. All right, guys. Hey. Let's jump right into it, man. Let's talk about you guys and the paranormal. What made you guys want to jump into such a busy, hectic, man, sometimes boring profession?
It's interesting. It's very interesting. I didn't personally have a lot of experiences growing up that would lead me into paranormal. I just always had interest in it. I think the main event that actually happened that caused me to really get started to being interested in it was I was going over to a friend's house one day and he wasn't there. He told me to walk in, the door was unlocked. So I went in, sat down, and all of a sudden a Nerf dart came flying at my head out of nowhere. And then I could hear like talking and walking in the kitchen. So I just sat there for a minute listening, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one here. Got up and walked around, and sure enough, I was the only person there. And that's kind of what led me to really become interested in the paranormal.
Okay. Did you hang around the house or did you leave?
I kind of stepped outside on the porch, and that was right when my friend was arriving. And I was like, someone in your house? And he was like, no, there shouldn't be. I was like, I think it's haunted. And he's like, yeah, I've heard some stuff.
Hey, it's weird how he told you after the fact.
Yeah.
See, mine was a little more like late. Mine was a little more later in life or earlier in life. I was about 4 or 5 years old, and at this time in my life, I didn't have any pets, and I was hearing really, really strange noises from the hallway of my house. And at my in my kitchen at the dinner table were me, my two brothers, my two stepbrothers, and my mom and her fiance. So everyone was accounted for at that time. And again, we didn't have any pets. And it almost sounded like our bathroom door was squeaking open and closed. And I kept glancing like in the corner of my eye towards that area. And I was like, this is weird. And all of a sudden I saw a white ball of light go from like the floor up above my stepbrother's head. And I sat there and watched it for a good 30 seconds before it went back into the living or like in the hallway area. But my mom had a younger brother who had passed away about 3 days after birth. So we just assumed it was our uncle goofing around with us and just being that goofy uncle that he couldn't be. So I never thought anything like was malicious in that way, but that always like sparked an interest. I would hear things before I'd like go to bed and hear what sounded like the TV on, but it wasn't on. If I walked out there and it was on, I would sit there and go, Uncle Chad, like turn off the TV, stop, we're trying to sleep. And the TV would eventually turn off. That could have been a timer, granted, but it was just those weird correlations that as I got later into life, I was like, there could be something else. And I started watching Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, that kind of stuff. And it got me to look a little further into it. And at one point, I wanted to become a parapsychologist. So I had looked into going into fear.
Okay. Now, first question of the day is that, your experiences that you have, is that the only reason why you guys are into this field, or there's something a little bit more that you guys are trying to figure out?
I think I've always thought that everyone has a story, and everyone's trying to still tell their story. And it's good for us to try and find out what the people wanted to say before they died. If you kind of get what I mean.
Mine I would have to say my essentially my goal is kind of like he had said, everyone has some kind of a story, whether they got to tell it or not, or whether or not their family is still around to remember them. They deserve to be remembered. They were people at one point.
Yeah.
So they deserve for at least whether it's just me and I was going through evidence or going through pictures, if it's just me that knows this, at least someone knows that someone is remembering them. A lot of our places that we go that we aren't paying to be there, we go to local cemeteries. We are in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, basically. Dixon, Illinois is the largest city in this county, and it's not even really that. I'm from what we call the Quad Cities in Iowa, so Bettendorf, Davenport. They're really, really huge towns. They almost not in size, but they are close enough to like Chicago. Yeah. So being in these small areas, you have a lot of these little pioneer like cemeteries where there's probably only like 20 headstones. And some of those people haven't had visitors in 50, 80 years. So a lot of them are like run down. They don't get a lot of people through there. So even if it's just two random people walking through, you stop and just happen to read the name. Those people are getting remembered. So they get to have some kind of like, everyone deserves that. Everyone deserves to be remembered.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I was on a podcast at 5 today, and that was one of the topics that came up, remembrance. And I totally agree with you. I don't care if you've been dead for 200 years, 1,000 years. If history remembers you, then that's a good thing.
Yeah, history is a big part of it.
Even if it's just one person, one person will carry that on.
You're absolutely right. Because when I ask people that question and I ask them, hey, what exactly are you guys trying to figure out about being the paranormal investigators? And most of them give me different answers. But you know the one answer I've never got, except I said it myself. Do you guys want to
What
take a
answer?
chance? It's that I'm preparing myself for what's gonna happen.
I
Yeah.
feel like that some people in the paranormal field are that way. They want to know what's going to be there. They don't like that wonder, that uncertainty. They want to know, that way they can be. But I feel like that's just how life is. Like you can't post to know everything. So that's
Hmm.
just how I feel
There's
about
always
it.
a big mystery involved in it.
Yes, I totally agree with you. But the more knowledge that we accumulate over our investigations, it really helps out a lot. Now, we know we can never be truly paranormal professionals because there's so much that we don't know about, and there's so much to learn. That book is being written every day. It's nonstop. So, for every page that you read, somebody is writing 3 or 4 pages ahead of you. So you would never, ever, ever, ever be able to catch up with whoever's writing that book. And
Yeah.
that book,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and that book has been written since the beginning of time. However, however time has been,
Right.
no one knows. But it's just one of those things that piques people curiosity. Some more than others, like you guys are saying, but it's definitely top priority on my list. It's probably second next to dealing with my kids. You know, uh, so I'm always thinking about it. And I'm wanting to know more things, and that's just the way I am, I guess. But guys,
Yeah.
you know, how long you guys been married?
We will be married 3 years this October. We got married October 23rd, 2021.
3 years. Was it a big wedding?
Not
Not
really.
really, no.
Um, it was fairly small. It was able to fit in a small farm town community center that I think
Or
fit like 300 people, and
Yeah.
we didn't even touch that. Um, but it was Halloween themed, so we encouraged and even put in our invitations, like we highly encourage you guys come in Halloween costumes. So
you
our
know,
entire bridal party was Hocus Pocus themed. My girls
mhm.
were the Sanderson sisters, and his boys were various different characters from the movie.
Yeah, it was really
It sounds like it's cool, but guys, just because when we have a wedding or when a child is born or something great that affects the family, and you guys invite a certain amount of people, that it's always the people that you don't see that are there. Because not only is this something big that changes your family, but since they are part of your family, also they also embrace the new life that the child been born or the wedding. So it's and I've always thought about that. It's like, hey man, if I was to get married, how many of my dead loved ones, my family would be there? And you can honestly say, man,
Right.
right.
We
you and I would think the whole family would be there to embrace the new member of the family. That it's just something that changes like that. I just think, dude, that is something that I think the whole family that would be there, non-living, that is. What do you guys think?
Right.
Sure.
We actually we took a kind of a step or two further than that. We were aware that we had family members that unfortunately would not have been able to make it due to them passing. My grandfathers on both sides of my families were some of those, and he unfortunately has an uncle and his father has passed away. So they weren't able to make it to our wedding. So what we did was we had little candles lit in their memory, and on his dad's aspect, we went a little further than that, and we actually got a lot of our wedding pictures taken not only in the cemetery that his father is buried in, but at his father's headstone, so his father could be a part of that with us.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's very interesting.
It was unique.
If your dad was with you right now, do you think he would embrace you being a paranormal investigator?
That is a very good question. He had always like he had never really shown an interest in it as far as I knew.
Mhm.
I remember several times watching like Hunters or Ghost Adventures on TV and him walking down and sitting and watching with me, but he never mentioned anything about it. I think being my dad and that he loved me and supported me, I feel like he would support my decision in being a paranormal investigator and investigating what's unknown on the other side.
Now, do you think that he would go on an investigation with you?
Probably not. Probably not.
You know, because it's weird because when we look at our elders, we look at them as wise. Some of them are well educated. Some of them just have that overwhelming of knowledge that, if they choose to share with you, they will. If they choose not to, I understand that too. But why do you think grandmothers, great grandmothers, grandfathers, and great great grandfathers, when you mention something that go bump in the night, do you know what they do? They shrug their shoulders and
They
just
kind
keep
of shut
walking.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like they know something that they're not telling us. When you guys
See,
agree,
in my what I've noticed is a lot of times it's a shutdown. They kind of stop talking. They almost like seem to not want to talk about it, or like a lot of them were older and were involved in church. So I think that has a lot to do with it, is their upbringing in church. My grandma has always been open to just about anything. She will not do the paranormal thing. She doesn't understand it. I've tried talking to her about it, and she just is like, this is what you like, Sabian. You just keep doing you. Be your weird normal self. But I've I've mentioned wanting to use a Ouija board. Usually we don't do this. It was when me and him first got together, we wanted to do this. And I just kind of tossed the idea to my family. And my
Mhm.
mom instantly was, no, don't do it. You don't know who you're talking to. You don't know if it's really who they say, yada, yada, yada. And I was like, yeah, I understand those warnings. I get that risk. And the moment I asked my grandma, who has been a God fearing woman since the day she was born, jumped
Mhm.
at it and said, do it. She's like, go for it. Do it. And I was
Oh
like,
wow.
whoa, that's weird. She was like, I did it as a kid. She goes, I played with it and I got taken back. I was like, great grandma let you do that? And she goes, oh no, I did it at my friend's house. Grandma didn't know
Oh.
about it.
Okay, well, kudos for grandma, man. Grandma doing big things. Uh, what
Oh
do you
yeah.
guys think?
Very adventurous.
Yeah, what do you guys think about the Ouija board?
I'm indifferent about it. We've only really done it twice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you don't know who you're really talking to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I have a weird caution about them.
But can we say the
I'm the
same
same
thing?
way. I'm kind of on the fence about the Ouija board because
Can we say the same thing about a REM pod? You really don't know who you're talking to when that thing goes off.
Yes, you
Yeah.
could. You
Right.
could say
Right.
that in general. You really don't know. Not even with just the REM pod, in any experience, in EVPs, in your video analysis, and all of that stuff, you can't really guarantee that that's who it is, and that's the wonder of the paranormal.
Right. It's all
Yeah.
a mystery.
Right.
Exactly.
And in
What,
doing those experiments and in doing that stuff, you open yourself to that.
right? And yes, you're totally right. Where would you guys be? Uh, where would you guys would like to be 20 years from now? Would you guys still be investigating, or what's the big goal for you and your team as paranormal investigators?
So some of our members are a little more on they want the TV aspect to have people know who we are, not necessarily be on the level of Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, and especially
Hmm.
with Ghost Hunters, no one will ever be on Taps and Jason Hawes's level. Like they are above everybody. They are like the gods of the paranormal. At least in my view, they are the gods of the paranormal world. Um, Me personally, I wouldn't mind. Granted, I would like a little more being able to go out and investigate places.
Hmm.
It's kind of scarce where we are locally. It's not really looked at. No one really does it. Um, a few more that we can investigate for, and that we try to stay local. We are trying to we've done a few of them, but we're trying to get more into residentials. We want to help people. We
Hmm.
I'm not looking for the big money TV show payday. I just want to I want to help the everyday person.
Okay, cool. What about you, brother? Where do you see yourself 20 years from
I'm
now?
like my wife was saying, I would like to have that fame and stuff, but it is more important to look on the helping side and wanting to help people out, because when you watch Ghost Hunters, you see them helping people and they don't really go for that, oh, there's a demon type stuff. They go for the more like, okay, is there an explanation for this, or is it really the paranormal? And you go
Mhm.
from there. And it's really putting the truth out there and not saying that everything is just a ghost.
Right, right.
Yes.
Now, tell me a little bit about your community. You said it's a small town. Can you guys give me a number?
About 15,000.
That's pretty big.
I'm from like a big city. Like I'm from an area where when you're driving, you don't realize you're in another big city until like 5 miles into that big city. So I'm from like big areas. We call it Quad Cities, and all 4 or 5 little cities that are there. It's on both the Iowa and the Illinois side, right on the Mississippi. So they're like big. They were once port cities, so they're
Hmm.
huge. This is very small to me.
Now,
And this was bigger
how,
from what I grew up with. I grew up in a town in the 2000s.
oh wow, how does the community react to what you guys are and what you did? Do you get some negative feedback, or most of your feedback is positive?
I'll say most of it is positive,
Mhm.
or neutral. They're kind of they I haven't had any bad experiences. I haven't had anyone look at me and go, "Oh, you're the ghost hunter. You talk to yourself in the dark at night. You're weird." I've not necessarily had that, but I will say a lot of people, when you mention it, this area was like they're heavily associated with their churches. And
Hmm.
for a lot of the religion out here, we have a lot of Catholics. It's very much no. Like you do not discuss this stuff. This stuff almost doesn't exist. And if it does, it's the devil's work. So
It's kind of a mix of 50-50 skeptic and believers.
Now, is there any? I mean, is there any historic locations in your small town that you guys go check out?
Yes.
yes, actually, back in January, we did an investigation. It was a weekend-long investigation at what is called the Northwest Territory Historic Center. I think it
Northwest
was
Society Historic
something
Center.
like that. It was the old high school here in Dixon, and it's actually the school that Ronald Reagan went to. It's his boyhood school. Dixon's famous for being President Reagan's boyhood home. So he grew up here. He went from like 6th grade on, graduated from Dixon High School, and did a lot of stuff in the Dixon area and Lowell Park area, which isn't very far from here. We also, about 15 minutes away from us, give or take, depending on how you drive, we have a small town called Grand Detour, and it's where John Deere started. So where he had his homestead, where he made all of his first tractors and plows and all of that fun stuff. And we've had Abraham Lincoln come through here. So we are pretty rich in historic aspects. The only problem with that and the paranormal is a lot of those places don't believe that the paranormal is in the direction they want to take it, which is perfectly fine. They want to stick more with the historical aspect, the facts that they actually can prove, not necessarily the ghosts and the things that go bump in the night. So it's kind of hard to find places.
Is your little town, and I'm just going to throw this out there, is there any railroads that go through your town?
Yes.
Yes. A lot.
A lot. You know, for some reason,
Yes.
I really don't know if this is true, but have you guys ever heard of paranormal railroad hoppers? Where spirits
I feel
would,
like
where spirits would get on a train and they would travel on a train. Then when the train stops, and if they see that this place is pretty cool, they'll hop off, you know, they'll check it out, you know, then they'll hop back on another train and just I've started to hear a lot of this is going on, you know, and that's why some of the locations, haunted locations, when you ask spirits, do you belong here? Most of them say no.
I get a lot of they're from the land, which necessarily we are also rich in Native American history. We have Black Hawk and his Sauk Nation and the Sauk tribe and all that, the Fox tribe coming through. So when I always got the land that they were associated with the land, I honestly just assumed it was the natives. But now that you say that, being as there are quite a few train tracks, they could be saying like they came on the land from the train tracks. But I have heard that. I didn't know how like true it was, but I did hear that.
We also had the Dixon bridge disaster where a bridge collapsed in 1873 and killed everyone on it.
Oh wow, really?
Yep. It was during a baptism.
Okay, that's kind of weird, but
Yeah.
how many people?
I'm not really positive. Probably around, I'm maybe about 50 or 100.
Wow,
I'm honestly not sure.
that is a lot. You know, you guys, how do you guys feel about
I'm
Hollywood?
looking it up. Hold on.
Okay.
They say in the terms of the death toll for that, they said it was one of the worst.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wow. Man,
I didn't know that. I'm not from here, so I didn't know that.
Wow, that's interesting. Uh, do you guys?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you guys the only paranormal team in your small town, right?
When they say in Dixon, yes, I believe we are the only one. If there is another one, we haven't met up with them. But there are other groups in the small towns surrounding us. So we have like Oregon, Illinois, Byron, and that kind of stuff. But there are small
Mm-hmm.
groups outside of them, like outside of Dixon. And we work very closely with another one. It's called Shadowcraft Paranormal. We work really closely with them sometimes. We team up quite often.
Yeah, we've done a few investigations with them at a museum, and um, what was the other place? We did a middle school with them, and
Oh, yep. We've done a few like present. We've done quite a few with them. A old Boy Scout camp. We were out there with them. That one was interesting. A lot of bugs.
Yeah, a lot of bugs down here too. Hey guys, what do you guys do to reach your community on awareness about about paranormal? The way you guys investigate. How do you guys reach out to your community?
So, being as I'm the case manager, I'm the one who does a lot of that reaching out to everyone. My biggest thing right now is because we are still fairly new, we try
Mm-hmm.
using our Facebook page a lot. Um, Not only do we use our Facebook page, but I go through and I email a bunch of people. I tend
Mm-hmm.
to sit at home, and usually when I get off work, I will just Google historical places near me, known haunted places near me, that kind of stuff. And I send them an email. And a lot of those are just, I'm really grasping at straws, hoping that they'll let us in. And that's what happened with the old high school here in town. I just kind
Mm-hmm.
of sent an email going, I doubt something's going to happen. And it turns out that that guy used to be in a paranormal team a few years back. So
Oh
he
wow.
was very, very interested and let us do it.
Well, hey, that's pretty cool. Um, you guys, like you said, you're fairly
But
new.
yeah, for the most part, it's just we reach out to them. We try to.
Okay. Have you guys reached out to the Historical Society yet? No. Have you
You
guys
cut
reached
out there
out?
for a minute. I'm sorry. What was
Uh,
that?
have you guys reached out to your local historic society?
I have not. And I can't tell you why I haven't. That seems like it's the first place I should have gone. But that definitely was not the first place I went.
thank
Don't
you for
know
giving
why.
us ideas.
I'll definitely do that tomorrow. I don't know why I never reached out to them. I don't see why they wouldn't have an issue with anything like trying to give us places or find something like that. Every October, they actually do a cemetery walk. The historical center puts, or the genealogy center, or something. One of our
Mm-hmm.
societies out here puts on a cemetery walk. What they do is they go one of their cemeteries down Oakwood, and they find
Mm-hmm.
different people who were influential in the town during the time that they were alive, and they put on little presentations. People will dress up as them and will put on monologues and skits and tell us about their lives. So I don't know why I never reached out to them.
Interesting. Now let's talk about the educational aspect of paranormal parapsychology. If you had a vote, if your town voted to allow this to be taught in schools, would you vote yes or would you vote no?
I would vote yes,
Yes.
100%.
Okay.
Mostly because when you think of parapsychology, they do discuss it's everyday things. It's not necessarily just ghosts, apparitions, things that go bump in the night like that. Looking into it because I wanted to be a parapsychologist, some of the things they talk about clairvoyance, and it could just be you have that feeling that your loved one is in danger. It's little things like that that everyone instantly thinks, oh, that's paranormal, it's ghosts, it has something to do with that, when it's just
Mhm.
everyday little things. So to know that there's something psychologically going on that makes you think that this is paranormal when it's just an everyday thing, I think everyone should know, because in that case, honestly, in that case, we would be out of a hobby. Wouldn't be a paranormal. We wouldn't be paranormal investigators because
Right.
people would be able to differentiate not like we are tonight, but people will get these eerie feelings and these little like things like hear bumps and stuff, and they would be able to go, okay, that's just the pipes in my wall, this could be this, and they wouldn't be as like freaked out. They'd be able to figure out if it's paranormal or not.
Okay, you know what? That brings up a next question that I have for you guys. And, and I want you guys to, each one of you guys to answer the question for me. Do you guys consider deja vu paranormal? Or do you think it's just something in the matrix that happen to all of us at one time or another?
So I lean more in the sense of deja vu possibly being something to do with reincarnation. I feel like deja vu is going to be that paranormal aspect. I think it's when you have like when you do something and you
Mhm.
feel like you've done it before, you may not have necessarily done that exact thing before, but you may have had those same feelings or felt like you've seen the same things, but in a past life.
Mm,
Yeah, and
okay.
I feel the same way about the reincarnation, but I don't think it's paranormal. I think it's more of like trying to think of a good way to
You
word
got to really
this.
think.
I know this is a hard one.
Well, some people think it's just a glitch in the matrix. I mean,
I I
just
I strongly the Matrix is a messed up thing, and I feel like because like it's almost like an optical illusion type thing. I feel like.
Mhm. Because how many times have you guys been on an investigation and that deja vu hits you? It's like, didn't I just see that 2 minutes ago? Like, and your head do a double take. It's like, whoa, did I just not see that 2 minutes ago? That deja vu
It,
kicks in on you, and it kind of, at the time, you don't think about it, but when you get home and you're cooking dinner or you're sitting on the toilet and your mind has to think about it, then you think like, oh shit, did that just happen twice? And that's when everything kicks in. It's like,
I get it.
yeah, yeah, that's
See,
it's just one of those. Go ahead.
I think mine isn't necessarily like during paranormal investigations, we have two cats. So I feel like mine is a lot of like I think I see the cat walk by and I might not have seen the cat walk by, but then I see the cat walk by. That
Mhm.
that happens a lot. But again, we have two cats. Granted, they're two totally different colors, but I feel like I'm just confusing the cats.
Well, you know what, guys? I'm gonna ask you guys. Man, this is gonna be a tough question. And it might sound a little bit out of the box, out of the norm, but I'm that type of podcaster that's always thinking outside of the box. outside of the norm. So I'm going to ask you guys a question, and just be honest with me. Is it possible that as paranormal investigators that we are on the other side of the stick? Is it possible that the people on the other side are investigating us as much as we're investigating them? Is that possible?
I like that thought.
I actually think that is possible, mostly because at least a lot of the places we go to, they're older places. So they're people who may not necessarily know like our equipment and the modern day things. So when we're going in, they're looking at us going, okay, who are you? What are you doing? Let's see what's going on with you. Let's see what is going on here. Just as much as we're sitting there going, okay, who's here with us? That's why I know.
Now, is it possible when
At least
here's
they can't
here's
hear frustrated
right now here's the thing that gets me,
sometimes.
guys. When I'm
I like to be on
investigating,
first name.
huh? Sorry about. Can you guys hear me? Here we go.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, check this out. Do you guys use cat balls?
Yes. We have like 5 or 6 of them.
Okay, now is it possible that when we activate that cat ball, because we got to demonstrate how it works. So when we touch that cat ball and you get a response, and you wait for it to go off, and you get a response, can it be possible that they're doing the same thing with us with our own damn devices? Make you want to go think? I don't know.
Yeah,
They could be.
they very well could be.
It could be testing our responses to having an unknown energy moving something that we can't see.
Oh yeah. Or
Now I'm interested.
It's kind of weird.
Now
man.
I'm interested.
Go ahead.
I'm kind of interested to look back at some of our footage and some of our videos that we do have, and think of it on the aspect of not necessarily like them being in the room with us trying to figure out what we're doing, but them sitting in like a corner with a notepad and a paper writing down what they're seeing and taking notes. And I did see a question about SLS and Ovilus. We do not have an Ovilus. I would love to have an Ovilus, but we use stuff similar. A lot of the stuff that we use, you can just get on your phone. So we use some Spirit Talker apps. We make sure all of our phones are on airplane mode, so we know it's not anything interfering with the radio signals that way. And SLS is, again, something we use on our phone. We are in the process of trying to get an actual SLS and an actual Ovilus, as well as a Boo Buddy. We're in the process of getting one of those too.
Hey,
That'd be really cool.
I got a Boo Bear. And
I really, really want one.
Yeah. Hey, I've seen those things go as low as like $30.
Really?
Yeah.
The lowest I think we've seen was like 300.
Oh yeah, the lowest I've seen. Yeah.
Damn, what kind of size bed?
What store are you buying them?
Right.
Wow.
No,
They're
it's
just the regular size.
Yeah, classic teddy bear. If you send us that link to wherever you're getting them for this cheap, I would love to know.
We'll buy like 5 of them.
Right.
Where do you guys go to shop for your equipment?
So we've kind of picked and choose through. A lot of our equipment came through Amazon.
A lot of it we just randomly acquired.
Yeah, a lot of it we also randomly acquired. Some of our equipment is also based out of like for locations specific that we go to. So some of our equipment is dated to like 2004. We have a couple things that are like early 1920s, solely for certain like very particular places that we go to. Like one of our favorite places is Edinburgh Manor in Scotch Grove, Iowa. And we have a lot of cameras that are dated during times that they would have operated, so that the spirits are comfortable and will know those devices.
We try to use as many trigger objects as possible.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. But you know what, guys? The best place to go shopping for paranormal paranormal stuff is Five Below. You can go to Five Below and get all the paranormal equipment you want, from motion LED lights, from motion LED balls. I mean, you can get as much as you want in that store, and it only costs $5.
Yeah, we just had one open up one town over, so we're moving up a little bit in the world here. In our little small town, we got some options.
And you know, one thing is, guys, for every paranormal team that comes together, there are always teams that retire. And those go retire always want to sell their equipment. Dude, hit up eBay. eBay is probably one of the best places. Just hit used paranormal equipment, and it's lined up. I mean, it's like rows and rows and rows of paranormal equipment. People are selling half price. You know, so that's where I do. You know, and
I've been on Facebook and seen people selling.
Yeah, all the time. You know, also, sometimes your imagination, dude. Some people, if you just imagine, you like I say, you sit on the toilet or you hanging out on the patio and you just like this, your mind goes to wondering, dude. You can come up with the perfect paranormal item, and all you got to do is just put it together, and bam, you got your own equipment. It's so cool because I've invented some stuff I ain't even put out yet. I'm saving it for the Paracon in April. Man, I put out so much stuff. You know, have you guys ever played Simon Says?
Yes.
Okay, well, I've actually put a whole square together with 4 lights, just like the Simon Says, and I'm able, and if you touch them, they'll be activated. So what I do is I'll touch it, and I'll ask the spirit, can you touch it, or can you touch that one? Dude, you can get a whole conversation just tapping, going back and forth, man. And these guys are trying to keep up with you. It's pretty cool, man. And I really had not seen anybody come out with that yet. You know, so
I would be interested in using something like that in one of the locations that we recently went to called the Cambry House in Nauvoo, Illinois. That would be interesting only because they seem to not want to talk to me. I did see a question of how many are in the group. We have 4 members, 2 girls, 2 boys. The other female, her name is Vanessa. She does a lot of conventions. She is a psychic medium as well. So she does all that stuff. And then the other member is an empath. And he's my best friend. So he had to be in the group. But Cambry House, this is a place where while we were there a couple weeks ago. They seemed to not want to talk to me. At this location at the time, it was just my friend, my husband, and I. And they would answer, like my friend would ask a question while my husband was doing the Essence method upstairs. My friend was downstairs with me. He would ask a question, they would answer it. I would ask a question, and it would say, like, it would start talking as I was talking, almost like it didn't want to hear me speak. And it kept telling me to go away. It kept telling me to leave, but telling everyone else to stay.
Yeah, it was being very disrespectful towards her.
This was a house built by in the 1800s. During that time, it was a lot of women were seen and not heard. So it didn't really like that I was the one taking charge and trying to talk. But I would be interested in seeing that Simon Says kind of device in a place like that and seeing how it would work there. That would be pretty cool.
It's crazy because you mentioned that, and believe it or not, guys, in the spirit world, there's a lot of profiling going on. You know, it's crazy because certain spirits depends on what generation or time you're in. Like you say, women, second class citizens. You sit in the corner, and if the man want to talk, then the man will come up and talk. You know, but the women does that also. Now you would think that the women would want to socialize with the woman, but no. If a woman, let's say the woman of the house is never, you know, they're like, well, you know, I'm used to talking to the man, you know, especially if you got somebody that's a caretaker that's always on the property, and you know, the woman always talk to the man, so never talk to the woman. So when the spirit sees a woman, they're not going to want to bother you. They want to talk to the man because that's what they used to in their lifetime, especially when there was no husband around. Yeah, it's crazy. You know, I noticed that. I noticed that a lot.
That was one thing we noticed. That was one thing we noticed at Cambry House because there were several times. I remember at one point I'm sitting at the bottom of the steps just so I can hear what he's saying through his essence method. And I'm sitting at the bottom of the steps and I glance over and the homeowner there, her name's Rebecca, she has pictures of the the original owners, the Cambrys. So she has a picture of Adolph Cambry and his wife Hortense. And several times I'm going, Miss Cambry, Miss Hortense Cambry, talk to me. Like woman to woman, speak to me. Like just chit chat. Nothing. It was always a man just sitting there. No, don't want to hear you. Stop, leave, go. And I'm sitting there going, just talk to me. I am a nice person. Just talk to me. I want to know your story. They came here from France. I want to know the story of their trip down here, how they ended up from France to New Orleans to Nauvoo, Illinois, just a small little area where they're overlooking the Mississippi. I wanted to know their story. And I kept getting turned down. No, they didn't want to hear me.
And the same thing happened. We used a Ouija board. That was the last time we used the Ouija. Would ask a question, it would just slide right off the board
and kept saying goodbye.
Yeah, kept just saying goodbye or no.
They would ask a question, they would get answers. I would ask the same question they did, and it was goodbye. It instantly. Do you want to talk to me? No, goodbye.
Every time.
And they were very, very short, didn't want to speak to me.
Maybe
investigations a month. It really depends.
I think this one.
It really depends on the investigations. I think at one point I never ever thought of using like an offering to try and get them to talk to me. I always thought that as bribing, but we also have kind of opened up into the possibility of not necessarily provoking in a negative manner, but kind of pushing, being a little more stern. We are very much the respectful, if you don't want to talk to us, we won't talk, but we have been kind of pushing into that just talk to us. Next time I'll take something to appease Adolph because I would like to speak with them. I want to know their story.
Wow.
You like coffee? We'll bring
I
coffee.
like coffee.
Yeah. You'd be surprised what the smallest offerings might get you a conversation. I mean, oh, hey, whoa, did you say vodka? Man,
We never
I'm finna give
outright
up.
said it.
Hey, now you giving a vodka. Yeah. Hey,
We never
guys.
outright said it. So we had made a pizza. We never outright said like they could have the pizza, but we made a couple homemade pizzas and left them in like the dining room while we investigated, as in a, hey, there's a little meal, but like I said, we didn't outright say, hey, this is for you. And I probably wouldn't give up vodka either.
Yeah, it's too expensive.
Yeah, that's kind of expensive, guys. Well, you know, if you want to be cheap, then hell, I'll drink it either way. You know what I mean? Vodka's vodka.
Cheap.
Yeah. You know, hey guys, Bruce, this question is for you. And I ask a lot of people this question. You guys live in a house or an apartment?
We rent a house.
Oh, so you have a basement? No, yes, right.
Yes.
All right. So, do you work in the basement a lot, Bruce, or tell me your everyday schedule?
Get up from work. Not get up from work. Get up from bed, go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed.
Oh, what about on weekends? What do you do on weekends? Do you ever go down in the basement and do?
Well, I go over.
Okay. Well, you know what, man?
I'm the only one.
Well, you know, this weekend, man, you're gonna be in the basement. You're gonna go make you're trying to make something. Your mind is telling you to make something, but you don't know what exactly you're making. So you tapping this, tapping that, and you really don't know. But you end up coming together and you end up making this. But you don't know what it does. You just made it, right? And all of a sudden, you hit that power button. You're like, and the electricity goes through you, and you're like, oh man, what the hell did I just do? And you're like, but you see a picture. It's like a picture, and you're like, who are these people? You see all these people around you just going about their everyday life. They see you, you see them. They're not even paying you no attention. But you shut it off, and those people disappeared again. You cut it back on, and those people reappear. So you walk upstairs with it, not knowing what you created, and you walk outside, Bruce, and you see millions of people you can't see, and you're like, man, what did I invent, man? Bruce, you just invented a device that can see to the other side. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
You play with it. You're like, Bruce. I'm like, you see some of your loved ones. You see some people, some of your family members that have been long gone. They coming up. They're socializing with you. They're talking to you. They're like, hey, man, how you doing, buddy? All that technology. You discovered something that has not been invented yet. Would you share that with the world, or would you keep that to yourself?
I would share it to the world eventually, but I would, for the most part, keep it to myself because I don't feel like that power is what we need at the moment. That's a hard one.
Yes. How long would you keep that thing on your shelf before you share it with the world?
I would want to figure out its full potential. And once I figure out its full potential, I would probably then start releasing it to like friends and we'd investigate with it. And eventually I'd give it to the public and be like, this is what's on the other side. Um, there's a whole nother world out there to discover type thing.
Mm. Now, the question that you know what's coming next. How do you think the world will react to your findings? You you
Uh,
bound
it,
backlash.
it would not react acceptingly. It would be very negative, I feel like, because there's a lot of people, yeah, yes, are believers that would be like, awesome, this exists. We can finally know what's on the other side. But a lot of people, like the older people, don't want to know what's on the other side and just don't believe in the paranormal. And they're going to be very unaccepting of it, such as like the churches.
Good answer. Because with a device like that, it's bound to change the way the world is today. The world will never be the same. I think churches, it would destroy churches. The Catholic Church wouldn't even be existing today. The Catholic, the Christian, every religion will fall to shambles because of what you discovered. So you might get some backlash. You're gonna get a lot of backlash, but at what 20, maybe 30, 40, 50 years from now, maybe the world will be ready for something like that. If ever. You know what I'm saying? Because I really don't think that people are ready for such advancement in technology. Even though you just put
You
a
are
couple
cutting
of
in
together.
really, really bad.
Yeah. You know, uh, yeah, I mean, I agree with you, dude. I had to put the thing on the shelf because we're not ready for it.
Oh, it's back.
You guys there?
Not bad.
Hello.
We're not
You there?
hearing anything.
Oh, wow. All right, there you go, guys. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back.
Oh, we're back.
Yeah, you're back. Hey, how old are you guys? You're not supposed to ask a woman how old they are, so I'm not going to ask you. But, Bruce, how old are you?
I'm 26.
26 years old. You know what? You just might make it to see 2101. You might. Is it possible?
Maybe.
With his family's
Probably
history,
not.
with his family's history, he's gonna live past that. He has family members who have recently passed away at like 115. So with his genes, I don't. It's
So you so you might be able to see the next turn of the century. Right?
I might, hopefully. That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool.
Can you imagine what the next turn of the century paranormal investigator, can you imagine what they're going to be like? The equipment that they're going to have? Can you imagine that?
I could only it's going to be incredible on what's going to be invented in the next like even 10 years.
Being as paranormal equipment like advances and changes it's just about every hour something new is invented in the paranormal world or some new experiment is being tested. What I would imagine, or what the 1980s would have imagined that time being, it's gonna far exceed that, I believe.
I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
you're actually going to be able to see spirits, unlike how you see them through like an SLS. They're going to capture something like you were saying earlier about that invention. Like that might actually be a reality soon.
And I feel like that'll be sooner than many expect.
Oh yeah,
Mm.
I see it being more like you can see like a hologram.
That's going to be interesting, dude. I would not. Me personally, I won't see that. But yeah, I will. I'll be hanging around. Yeah, I'll see it. You know, there's no doubt.
I was gonna say, whether you're physically here, whether you're physically here or not, you'll still see it.
It'll still be amazing when you see it.
I will see it eventually, man. I'll be hanging out with you guys. You know, hey, if you guys ever see something weird, it's just me. Don't pay me no attention. I'm just weird like that. You know what I'm saying? But hey, guys, before I get you guys out of here, there's one more question I gotta ask you guys. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Are you guys sure y'all want to answer? I don't know if y'all can answer this question, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Where would you guys like to go on your bucket list?
It might be tough, but we'll try.
Where would you guys like to go on your bucket list? Anywhere in the world.
I have a long list.
Oh yeah, so do
it
I.
is
But
not hard for us to investigate the places I want to go. I'm like Dr. Seuss over here. My biggest place I want to go is Waverly Hills Sanatorium in Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
So I would love to do Waverly Hills. I would love to go to Massachusetts. I would love to do the Queen Mary in California, Winchester Mystery House, a lot of those big ones. But I also do kind of have an international list. I would love to go to Ireland and go check out Leap Castle or Loftus Hall or places out there in Ireland. My family does come from Ireland, so it would be really cool to go see where my family came from. And he has some family out in that region as well, so it'd be really cool to see that. Now he's actually gotten to touch on his bucket list. I have not yet.
Oh yeah, my big place on my bucket list was Gettysburg, and we finally got to go to Gettysburg a couple years ago, and that was the best experience of my life being a enthusiast. We didn't really do much investigating, but it was awesome. And I would say the next place that I would want to go would be Pennhurst. And I don't know why, but I just have this. I feel like I have a connection to Pennhurst for some reason. Something just has always been telling me to go to Pennhurst.
He's also had a lot of thoughts of Trans-Allegheny.
Yeah.
He keeps mentioning that as well.
And I don't know if it's some like maybe I had a relative that was a nurse or an inmate there or something, but something tells me to go to one of those locations.
Okay, cool. You know, it's weird because I've been podcasting for years, and it's rarely that I hear people talk about going to Romania. You know, nobody wants to go check out Dracula. You know, I think Romania is a cool place.
Not that I don't want to go check it out.
Oh, it is.
My dad is actually a very, very big Dracula fan. So I feel like I've heard a lot of Dracula. My dad actually wanted to name me and my older brother after Dracula and his wife. So Vlad and Elizabetha. and obviously that didn't happen. But I've always been around the vampire lore, so I think that's why I'm kind of like, I don't really want to do that, because I grew up with it. My dad swore to God he was a vampire, but
Okay.
that's
Well,
neither here nor
Ruler of hell, but
yeah.
well, if let me ask you a question. Uh, who was Dracula's who was Dracula's worst enemy?
Oh my gosh, I know this answer. If you go historically, it was, oh my gosh.
this is all you, babe.
I know. I don't know why, but my brain wants to say the Turks, and I don't know why. I honestly don't. But if we go on an emotional
Gabriel.
I think his
Who is Gabriel?
Oh,
You really did it to her this time.
my dad is gonna watch this and be so upset with me. I'm gonna get a text later. Oh my
Hey.
god.
Was
I think
not that
on an emotional level, sure, I think Dracula's biggest enemy emotionally was himself and his father. Honestly, if I had to go in that aspect, but he had his own demons, and I think that plagued him the most. I think he was his own worst enemy.
who's the one that put him down? Gabriel.
I'm drawing a blank, and I don't know why. It has to be because of my recent injury. I don't
You know
know. Oh my gosh. How am I drawing a blank on this?
I bet you Bruce knows.
He led to his own downfall.
Oh my gosh.
I gave you his first name. What's his last name?
I honestly don't know. I'm not a big Dracula person.
Hey, there's a cat. Is she on the computer?
Yeah.
That's
It's
Azriel. Me,
What?
I was actually on my phone trying to Google.
You give up?
Sorry, he's getting all tangled up. But yeah,
That's
this
okay.
is one of our cats.
He's a fatty. Did you give up?
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
No, can't tell you.
Yeah, I did.
Well,
I can't.
I want you to think about it. And I want you to text me sometime next week if you figure it out. But you cannot ask your dad. I gave you the first. I gave you the first.
I am
name.
gonna, the moment we get off here, I am watching anything and everything Dracula. I will even go as far as Vlad Tepes freaking documentaries. I will learn about the man who inspired Dracula. I will learn everything I can.
All right, guys. Hey,
I will go all out.
Tell the world how to get a hold of you guys. Did they freeze up again? Yeah, I think you froze up again.
Yeah, it did for a moment.
You're back.
I'm back. Hey, tell the world how to get
We're getting kind of a
paranormal.
So you can email us at shadowcraftparanormal@gmail.com. or you can find us on Facebook at Shadowhunters Paranormal. We have both a page and we have a group. Either one can be, it could be a little post on the group. It could be a message through the Facebook page. I am the one who runs everything. I will get a message. If not, you could always find me at Sabian Wittenauer on Facebook, and you can personally message me that way as well. I am always open to talking to anyone and everyone about the paranormal.
Now, did I get a hold of you guys? I think I called you guys, right?
You had messaged us on the Facebook page.
Okay.
And I was able to, it took me a minute, but I was able to figure out how to message you back through that. So you actually helped me figure out how to do that.
Hey, no problem, man. This technology is not, man, it drives me crazy. It was just, but guys, it has been a pleasure.
I'm in my 20s.
Oh, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys, man. I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. You know, but make sure you guys do your homework. Cause I'm gonna text you. I'll give you about 2 hours, and I'm gonna text you back and see if you got that answer for me. So what time is it now?
I may not respond back until it's about 9:30.
Oh yeah, I'll give you till midnight. Anyway, it's been a pleasure, man. I really, I wish you guys all the success as a new paranormal team. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep educating others about it, because it's a field that, you know, as we grow, it's just one of those things that we'll keep learning also. So the more you teach others, the more you're going to learn. I mean, you just keep passing it on down, guys. You know, I wish you guys nothing but great success. And, you know, I would love to get your 2 other friends on the show, if that's possible. I'll be contacting you guys back to get your other team members on the show if they're up to it. You know, and so on and so on. But hey, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for coming on Friday. And thank you for putting up with what we put up with last Friday. That was unbelievable. Did they freeze again? Yeah, they froze again. Hey, still there? Right? Yep. What?
Yeah, we're getting a storm here at the moment, so our internet's starting to crash.
All right, guys. Hey, enjoy the rest of your evening, man. And I'll be contacting you guys in a couple of days, see if I can get that answer. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Hey, guys. Yep. Terry with NSPS Paranormal Podcast in Illinois, Dixon, Illinois, man. Go check these guys out. Make sure you hit that like, share, subscribe button. Let's get these numbers up for them, man. But in the meantime, I want to go get me some milk and some zingers. And I'm going to go sit somewhere and have milk and zingers. So in the meantime, peace. Bye, guys.